There's no denying the fact that a lot of us work really hard every day. Whether we are sitting at the office or putting in long hours at home, our hard work and perseverance seem to be reflected in our accomplishments, or so we would like to believe. However, there is more success than simply working hard. In reality, it's how we use our free time that makes all the difference. This is where the 5-hour rule comes into play, a concept developed by many successful professionals as a way to maximize their productivity during those seemingly insignificant pockets of time throughout the week. In today's video, we'll be looking at this 5-hour rule and how it can help you achieve your career success and personal fulfillment. So what is the 5-hour rule? Simply put, it refers to the idea that no matter how busy we are, we should set aside at least 1 hour a day or 5 hours per week for our own personal learning. This rule was first proposed by one of America's founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. As a renowned scientist and inventor, Benjamin Franklin was the first to discover the law of charge conservation. He also played an important role in the American Revolution and served as America's first postmaster general. With such an accomplished life under his belt, it's no wonder that Franklin developed a time management strategy that would enable him to achieve so much in such a short amount of time. According to research on Franklin's writing, his approach involved dedicating 1 hour each workday from Monday to Friday specifically to learning. He studied a wide range of topics, set personal growth goals, and tracked and evaluated his progress over time. In this way, he had 5 hours per week dedicated to learning. Today, this principle is often referred to the 5-hour rule. While the idea of giving ourselves time to learn every day may seem simple and easy to follow at first glance, in reality, it can be quite challenging to consistently uphold this principle in our busy and hectic modern world. The core of the 5-hour rule is the idea of giving yourself space, rather than striving for a significant amount of time each day. Even so, it can be difficult to carve out even an hour of free time in today's hyper-connected age. One study, which looked at the schedules of over 200 self-made millionaires, found that many successful people tend to avoid watching TV in their downtime. In addition, what stands out is that 86% of these individuals spend their leisure time reading, and 63% listen to podcasts during their commutes. For example, billionaire investor Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading and thinking about investing. This is why Buffett has been able to achieve some of the most successful investment records in history. He invests a lot of time thinking about his work, and he's been doing it consistently throughout his career. And you might be wondering, how come a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company has so much free time, while our schedules are packed full? The truth is, making use of the free time is not about getting caught up in busy work. It's about creating leisure time for yourself to learn and to do things that are meaningful and get beyond the other pointless things in life. By getting rid of things that are meaningless and leaving some white space in your life, you give yourself time to think carefully about what you want to learn. This is how we can improve ourselves instead of aimlessly doing things but making no progress. Since we have 5 hours a week to study, we must learn to be efficient in both input and output. Successful people who follow this rule usually break it down into 3 parts. First things first, reading. As Elon Musk publicly said, he learned how to build rockets by reading, which led him to founding SpaceX. Alibaba founder Jack Ma has also said that reading is an essential, not just for expanding your knowledge base, but also for giving you a head start, which is often something your peers don't have. And even if we don't have dreams of building business empires, we can still reap the benefits of a long-term reading habit. Don't feel frustrated if you can't commit to an hour or more of reading every day, because as mentioned earlier, an hour a day is not a hard and fast rule. You can start by just carving out 20 to 30 minutes of reading. The most important thing is start getting into a reading habit. And you don't need to be reading dense or difficult texts either. According to productivity expert Shansei Maddox, the key is to read about subject that interests you, which will help you get used to reading every day. If you really want to maximize your reading time, then my advice is always to have a book on hand wherever you go. Not only can this be a great way to pass time when you're waiting for a meeting to start or commuting on the bus, but it's also a much better use of your time than scrolling through social media or playing games on your smartphone. If you're having trouble fitting regular reading time into your schedule, try setting some specific goals for yourself each week. For example, try aiming to read a chapter per day or set a monthly goal for the number of books you read. And with ebooks so widely available these days, there's no excuse not to fit reading into your schedule no matter where you are or what you're doing. So if you're looking for ways to improve yourself and stay on top of the latest trend and developments in your field, make sure to set yourself a reading goal each week or month to start diving into those pages. Now on to step number 2, reflection. Reflection is a key part of learning. In the process of continuous learning, trying to take in too much information at once can leave you feeling lost. It's like you've got a bunch of ingredients, but you haven't taken the time to think about what dish you want to make, and all those good ingredients end up getting wasted. Taking the time to think about what we've learned can help us get a better understanding of the new ideas we read, and subconsciously help us build our own thoughts and ideas so that we can have creative breakthrough in our domain of expertise. A study by the University of Texas confirmed that mental breaks and reflection can boost our learning efficiency, as reflecting on the past experience gives us the opportunity to learn from our mistakes and set more accurate goals in the future. Which is also why Google has a 20% policy, where employees are free to use 20% of their work week however they please, whether that means taking a mental break or doing something they enjoy. This kind of relaxation not only doesn't it decrease productivity in the office, it can actually inspire more imagination and creativity. Of course, there are so many ways to reflect on your day. It's up to you to find what works for you. Some people prefer to write down their thoughts in a journal before bed, while others find that they think more clearly when they're outdoors, either on a walk or a run. Personally, I like to reflect on my day during evening walks after dinner. For those just starting out with this practice, try to start small. Dedicate 5 to 10 minutes each day, gradually increasing the amount of time you spend reflecting. This way, you won't feel overwhelmed or burned out at the beginning. Additionally, it's helpful to ask yourself 2 to 3 specific questions while we reflect on our day. For example, if you attend a meeting today, during your reflection time, you could ask yourself, what was the key takeaway from attending this meeting? And how can I apply this knowledge to my business? By taking some time each day to reflect on our experiences, we'll be able to learn and grow more effectively. Last but not least, don't be afraid to apply what you've read in your daily work as experiments. If you have a new theory or idea that may seem a bit crazy, experimenting is the only way you can gain valuable insight and feedback from others. From the world's most innovative companies like Elon Musk's Tesla or SpaceX, or to smaller scale personal things like learning a new language or cooking a new dish, trying it out is what allows us to continuously grow and improve. So go ahead and put those reading skills in use in your everyday life. Dedicate some time each week to testing out new ideas and theories, no matter how outlandish they might seem at first. By doing so, you'll not only learn what works and what doesn't, but you'll also gain valuable insights that can help from future experiments and decisions. And even if your experiments end up failing, there's always something to be gained from the experience. And finally, be patient with yourself. It's easy for people to mix up work and study, and that's why you can end up feeling stagnant. Someone might think, I work 40 hours a week, so I must be making progress. But it's not necessarily the case. Repetitive work can make you form default routines, and when you focus on the same task every day, you're not giving yourself more time and space to develop and grow. For a lot of people, they measure their work performance by the amount of tasks they complete in a day, so they race through their days without slowing down to improve their efficiency. The 5-hour rule goes against this grain by focusing on intentional learning instead of hoping to accidentally learn something while working all day. This is why Franklin, who came up with the 5-hour rule, would rather spend at least 1 hour learning even if it meant he'd get less done that day. If you're always focused on your everyday work and not long-term self-improvement, you'll never see much development. For example, a lot of salespersons don't do any research before making a phone call. They pick up the phone and make a call, and then they make the next call. They can make a lot of calls in a day, dozens or even hundreds of them. It seems like they are very productive, but what have they gained from all these repetitive calls? The answer is probably nothing. People who are not proactive can't learn anything from these repeated calls. On the other hand, someone with a focus on learning would think about what skills to practice when making a call, such as how to make the customer trust me more so that he or she doesn't want to hang up immediately. This person would probably practice his or her script and reflect on the lessons learned from the process. Maybe he or she even invite a colleague to listen in on that call and ask for feedback afterwards. When you take the active learning approach to life, it means that every time you make a sales call, you try to get better. Putting the focus on learning can change our automated behavior so that we can progress instead of staying stagnant. Active learning is the key to making progress and moving forward, rather than standing still. Although dedicating 5 hours a week to learning may seem difficult at first, it will lead to a significant gain in the long run. Setting specific learning goals and devoting time to become the best version of yourself can help you make these goals a reality. These These experiences will accumulate over time and help you succeed as you work your way towards your goals. Many successful entrepreneurs and industry leaders have validated the 5-hour rule, arguing that how we rest is just as important as how we work, regardless of whether by design or by accident. They are all demonstrating that this rule works in everyday life. If you want to make the most of your busy schedule, then adopting this rule could be a great way to learn new knowledge and skills that can transform your life. Are you ready to put this 5-hour rule into practice? This is Money Therapy, a channel that helps you become the next millionaire. See you in the next one.